All right. Let's see if we can start over. You can tell Mrs. Shea that making a video is nowhere near easy, especially for old farts like me. So, we're going to review infusion, calculations, setting up your factors. Before you start learning shortcuts, you need to understand the base formula. So the base formula is going to be a dry erase marker that works. Base formula is going to be volume to be infused, which will always be in milliliters, times your drip factor, which is in drops per milliliter, and that's going to be over time, which will always be in minutes. So when you're looking at problems or even looking at orders, you may see something along the lines of infuse 2 liters over 2 hours, or infuse 1.5 liters over 45 minutes. You need to get your volume to be infused into the milliliter volume, and you have to convert your time into minutes. So don't try to do any of these calculations in the initial units that it's given if it's not in minutes and milliliters. So before you look at any of the numbers, you can see that if you set your formula up correctly, if you set your numbers into the standard formula, a lot of these will cancel out. So if you don't set your formula up in the correct format, that may be one of the problems with getting the wrong numbers. But when you look at this, in the end, your milliliters will cross out, and you'll be left with drops per minute. That'll be your drip rate at the end. One of the things we want to look at is how to make this a little bit simpler. So one of the things that you can do, you have a couple of standard drip factors. You have a 10 drop set. That means 10 drops. It takes 10 drops to create 1 milliliter. You have a 15 drop set. 15 drops per milliliter. So when we talk about 10 drop sets or 15 drop sets or medication sets or 60 drop sets, what we're saying is that set is designed for 10 drops to equal 1 milliliter, 15 drops to equal 15 milliliters, or 60 drops to equal 1 milliliter. If I may have said that wrong. 15 drops for 1 milliliter, 10 drops is 10 drops is 1 milliliter, 60 drops is 1 milliliter. So this is your drip. These are your drip factors. So one of the tricks that I teach commonly, that I let people know to get through things a little bit faster, is to minimize this math. Anytime anyone teaches you a shortcut, you need to know what the base formula is, and you need to know how the shortcut is derived from the base formula. Because variables will change, and if you don't change the variables and you just try to apply that shortcut, you're going to end up with the wrong answer. So you need to know where that shortcut comes from. Once you understand that, then you can apply the shortcut to multiple problems. So one of the shortcuts that I use is called a magic number. The magic number applies to the different drip factors. And it comes from doing the math ahead of time of your drip factor and your time. The important thing is to bring this volume that needs to be infused to an hour. So you may get an order that says infuse 2 liters over 2 hours. Well, I need that to be at an hour, so I want 1 liter over 1 hour, and then I need it to be in milliliters, so I need 1,000 milliliters over 1 hour. So those are some of the conversions that you need to make ahead of time. But if I take my drip factor, I'm going to leave my volume here alone. Again, dry erase markers at work. I'm going to leave my X milliliters alone. let's go with a 10 drop set. So 10 drops per milliliter. And I'd say my time is in 1 hour. So 60 minutes. So if I can do that, then I will say, well, 10 goes into itself once, and it goes into 60 6 times. My magic number for a 10 drop set is 6. So all I have to do is take my X milliliters, my volume to be infused, divide that by 6, and that's going to be my drip factor. And again, I still have to make sure my units cancel out. So milliliters cancel out, and I'm left with drops per minute. So a 10 drop set, the magic number is 6. I'm one of those crazy people that nobody likes, that does math in his head, moves numbers and decimal points all over the place. So this makes a lot of sense to me, but it may not make a lot of sense to you. So take it easy, take it slow. Let's do the same thing for a 15 drop set. X milliliters times 15 drops per milliliter over 60 minutes. Remember, we have to bring the volume to be infused equivalent to what would be infused over 1 hour. So 15 goes into itself once, it goes into 60 4 times. Take my volume to be infused, divided by 4, make sure my units cancel out, milliliters, I'm left with drops per minute. Okay? 60 is even easier. So our 15 drop set, magic number is 4. 60 drop set, very easy, X milliliters times, awesome, thank you, times a 60 drop set over 60 minutes. 60 cancels out, milliliters cancel out, I'm left with drops per minute. And when I'm using a medication infusion set or a 60 drop set, whatever the volume to be infused over an hour, that's also my drip factor. So I still have drops per minute. So a 60 drop set is actually just 1. Now the other standard set that you may see is a 20 drop set. You should see a pattern by now. So 20 goes into itself once, and into 60 how many times? That's right, even Mrs. Shea gets it right. X milliliters times a 20 drop set over 60 minutes. 20 into itself, into 60, 3 times. Magic number is 3. So let's see if we can work this out. So let's give, straightforward, right? We're going to give 500 milliliters, administer 500 milliliters over an hour using a 15 drop set. Cross my units out first because I like to do that. 15 goes into itself once, into 64 times. 4 goes into 500. Somebody do that math. So 500 divided by 4 is going to be a little bit over 100. Should be what, 125? So then 500 divided by 4. Is 125 drops per minute. All right. Let's give 2 liters over 2 hours. So your order. 2 liters over 2 hours using a 10 drop set. Okay. So we need to set this up as in, I want how much to be infused over 1 hour. That's 1 liter over 1 hour. And that's 1,000 milliliters, 60 minutes. So that's the stuff I have to do before I even start plugging it into my formula. Thousand milliliters times a 10 drop set. Over 60 minutes. Milliliters cross out. I'm left with the correct units. 10 goes into itself once, into 66 times. I want 1,000 divided by 6. I'll let you do that math. Public math is not everybody's friend.